Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit more shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, guys, because in the last 24 hours, as we can see here, Bitcoin has officially bounced. We bounced off of our level of support down here, this downtrending trend line right here. Bitcoin bounced around $9,700 last night, and actually overnight managed to rally through the downtrend of resistance that Bitcoin has been testing over the last several days. From there, Bitcoin has come up and tested $11,500, and actually, potentially within the recording of this video, Bitcoin is going to be breaking bullish out of a consolidation pattern right here that should bring us above $11,500. I want to talk about this Bitcoin bounce and whether or not Bitcoin is actually going to be moving to the upside now that we have had a little bit of a bullish correction. Has the rally resumed? Has Bitcoin actually gotten out of this short-term downtrend that's in? What's happening with Bitcoin? And also, importantly, is this actually going to break bullish the way that it looks like it will? Hint, I think it's going to. We'll be discussing that and more in today's video. If you guys do enjoy today's video, please make sure you smash that like button, guys. That like button deserves it. Trust me, I know the guy. I went to high school with him. Knock him out. He's kind of a jerk. Hit that like button. Also, if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, guys. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. Well, guys, as always, let's start with a little bit of a recap of what's going on in the market here over the last couple of days in case you've been hiding under a rock. Bitcoin, of course, did run up to $14,000 or so, and we had our correction. Then we had a correction of the correction. Then we had a correction of the correction of the correction down to where we landed last night of around $9,700. In yesterday's video, we were trading down here somewhere, and I was talking about how there is bearish potential for Bitcoin to go even lower. And I want to update that position I had, and it seems that I was wrong. It's very important for you guys and for me as well, because I'm a technical analyst also. It's very important for us as technical analysts to admit when we were wrong. And it looks like, since I was a little bit more bearish in yesterday's video than I should have been, that I may have been reading the charts wrong. Bitcoin did not actually fall bearish here. We actually managed to bounce bullish, and in fact, we broke through this downtrend of resistance. A couple videos ago, I was talking about how we're still trying to adjust our declination when we're using our compass, trying to figure out exactly where magnetic north is as opposed to north, geographic north, because if you guys know anything about compasses, you have to adjust for the fact that magnetic north, where the compass is pointing, is not actually in the same direction as geographic north all the time. You have to adjust for that more or less depending on where you are in the world. And I think the same thing is true for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency technical analysis. You have to adjust how bullish your technical analysis is for the bull market and how bearish it is for the bear market. Seems I need to be just a little bit more bullish. Lesson learned, hopefully, and we can continue with the technical analysis being as accurate as we can here on the channel so you guys can learn as much as you can. But since it seems I made a mistake in yesterday's video, I do want to go ahead and point that out and say that I'm trying to do better and that it's something I've learned from. Hopefully you guys can learn from it as well. Either way, Bitcoin, like I said, has bounced and has come up here and tested one of our important levels of resistance at $11,500. And like I said in the intro, we are currently finding ourselves within a consolidation pattern, a tightening range right here that I have a feeling Bitcoin's going to break bullish out of. And one of the main reasons I say I have a feeling that Bitcoin is going to break bullish out of this is, one, because it is a consolidation pattern that Bitcoin moved into from the bullish direction. Bitcoin was moving up when it moved into it, but also because just a little over 12 hours ago, Bitcoin tested this downtrend of resistance, a much longer term downtrend of resistance, and relatively quickly we went into a consolidation pattern right here and we broke bullish out of it. Bitcoin actually broke very bullish out of it. As you guys know, the trend is your friend right up until it ends, and Bitcoin at the moment is in a bullish trend, and I don't think there's much of a reason to argue with the idea that Bitcoin will break bullish here. Now, maybe it won't, maybe it'll break bearish. One thing you do have to keep in mind is that this is way past the 80% point in a consolidation pattern. Typically, you want to be trading consolidation patterns before they've gone up to and beyond 80% of the way through their actual consolidation pattern. Around 80, some people say 60, some people say 90. The point is, we're so far into the end of this consolidation pattern that if a bull whale or a bear whale comes in, they can very easily manipulate the market and render your technical analysis relatively useless on something like this. And I'm using this as a teaching example because this is going to have broken out by the time this video goes live. There's almost no doubt about that. Whether it breaks bullish or bearish, I do want to point out how you're supposed to trade this, because this is one of the main trades that I make. I don't go trading the market every single day. I don't trade the market every single day. I look for trades, and it may take me 3 or 4 days before I see a trade that I like, but when I see a trade that I like, I'm almost certain that I'm either going to make money or the money that I lose is going to be very, very insubstantial. As you can see, Bitcoin may be breaking bullish here, but what you don't want to do in this consolidation pattern like this is actually put the trade in before the breakout. What you want to do is have a trade like right up here. See how Bitcoin is currently moving up, trying to get to this level that I just drew? You want to have a buy order up here and then a stop loss right below it. So right when you catch the breakout, as Bitcoin is doing here on camera, when you catch the breakout and it comes up here, you can catch it, You can have Bitcoin touch it, and then hopefully it will continue. If it doesn't, you have a stop loss just below itself. As you can see, Bitcoin at the time of recording this is climbing through this level I just had. So if I were trading this, I would have had a buy position right here. And then right after that buy had have gone in, I would have put a stop loss immediately below it, like a Satoshi below it. So the only thing you're risking is your actual trading fee. So you're not risking anything, and then you can just ride this into profitability. You're basically invulnerable from losing money, other than the however much trading fee the market is, however much the trading fee is on the exchange you're using. So over the next 5 to 10 minutes, this is probably going to rally up to around $11,500. We'll come back to that later on in the video and see how that's developing. I did want to point that out because that is one of the main trades I make, and it's a very safe trade. It's very, very easy to make that trade. Just buy in after the breakout, put a stop loss immediately below where you got in, and then you'll be good. Anyway, like I said, we'll go back into the short term here in just a second and look at that breakout. There's not a whole lot going on that, and you guys can, of course, look back on your charts. But I do want to talk about the longer term stuff for Bitcoin and what this new uptrend over the last 12 hours or so actually means. What does this actually mean? Has Bitcoin actually finished this downtrend? Has Bitcoin finished this correction here? Was 30% all we needed, and is Bitcoin going to continue higher from here? Well, that's the question I want to answer, or at least try to answer in today's video. Guys, I want to make this very, very clear. I am very bullish on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going to have a phenomenal 2019. I think we are well into bull market territory. I don't think that we are in a bear market anymore. The accumulation phase is over. I think the next 2.5 years or so for Bitcoin are going to be remarkably bullish, and I think we're going to run to over $100,000. But with that said, even in bull markets, you have to have retracements. It's important for you to have retracements. It's important for the market to consolidate, because if it doesn't, then you're not really, you don't have any room to run. You got to let the bulls take a breather every once in a while. You can't just run an entire marathon and not stop for 2 seconds every once in a while and take a little breather, unless you're just a long distance runner or something. Bitcoin doesn't work that way. It needs a little bit of a break. So this kind of correction here, a 30% correction on Bitcoin, is actually very healthy for it, and it's actually a very bullish thing for Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin may be done with this. We're going to talk about that, but I also want to point out that we can't confirm that yet. Bitcoin has actually started a little bit of a rally here, but this is not over with. Just because we've broken this downtrend of resistance doesn't mean that we haven't broken a downtrend of resistance that I haven't shown you guys yet. Always remember that there is technical analysis playing on the market that you may just not be aware of. Just because you see it doesn't mean it's not important. As you guys can see here, there's a downtrend of resistance that I've been hiding for this entire video because I wanted to make sure you guys understood the concepts we're discussing here before I get into it. This downtrend of resistance is very important. We don't want to write this off and say that just because Bitcoin broke that downtrend of resistance from earlier, that Bitcoin is fine now. No, we're sitting below another one. We need to get above this as well. I need confirmation before I can be bullish on Bitcoin again, because right now, as you guys know, the trend is your friend right until it ends. Bitcoin is in an overall bearish trend, especially until we break this downtrend of resistance as well. After we do, we can start looking for confirmation of bullishness and looking for Bitcoin to start going higher. While I am a little bit more bullish in today's video than I was in yesterday's, and I am a little bit more bullish on the market now than I was 24 to 48 hours ago, and what I'm talking about is on the daily chart bullish, like more longer term bullish, I'm still waiting for confirmation, because we have confirmation of bearishness. That's the most recent confirmation we had. Now we need confirmation of bullishness so that we can say the rally is going to go higher. We need a trend reversal. We need proof of the trend reversal, because right now we need to stick with what is happening in the market. Right now Bitcoin is bearish, so we need to assume that Bitcoin is going to stay bearish for our own safety, because if we don't and we assume that Bitcoin is just going to go bullish, we can very easily get caught in a trade that is losing us money. But guys, with all that said, I do want to point out that even though we haven't really had confirmation of bullishness yet, I think things are looking good. I'll show you why. If we look at yesterday's, if we look at the day before yesterday and yesterday's price action, we'll see that we had a couple of wixes, a couple of candlesticks, a couple of wixes down here. And yes, I know it's not wixes, I know it's wick. I just like saying wixes, it's funny to say. We had a couple of wicks come down here below the 20 exponential moving average out here on the daily chart, but we didn't actually have the candle bodies come down there, and we didn't have them break below it, which means that we are still in a long-term uptrend, and that this, for the moment, is just a correction. It's not an actual downtrend in the bull market, as we saw so many times in 2017 that characterized the year of 2017. Bitcoin not falling below the 20 EMA is actually a very bullish thing, and it does lend credence to the argument that Bitcoin could bounce from here. With that said, also, we're seeing something like the MACD out here on the daily chart start to reverse. We saw a bearish cross, but as you can see, this was a lot more bearish a couple days ago than it is now. We can see the histogram has a pretty good chance of changing direction tomorrow, depending on what happens today. today. If Bitcoin can maintain this green candlestick that it has and even break higher, maybe up to $12,000 or so, we're probably going to see a bullish convergence change of direction here on the MACD. What that means is that this candlestick is going to change from this color to this color right over here, that color right there. And if Bitcoin does that, then that means that Bitcoin is more than likely going to be having a cross in the near-term future, and that would be predicting a new uptrend for Bitcoin and the continuation of the one that's already happening. Likewise, we see that stochastic RSI is oversold. We do see that stochastic RSI is having a little bit of a cross and starting to move to the upside. That's going to take a few days before we can start having confirmation of that, though. Like I tell you guys, don't trade stochastic RSI and RSI based off of overbought and oversold signals. Trade it based off of the change in direction, and you will be much happier. Same thing with MACD. Don't trade MACD off of the crosses. Trade it off of the change in direction of the histogram. The reason I say that, by the way, as a little bit of a side note, check out where this cross was on the MACD. The bearish cross happened right at the bottom. If you bought down here, if you sold down here, you sold the bottom because you were trading MACD the wrong way. If you sold MACD based on this change in direction on the histogram, you sold the top. Make sure you're using MACD correctly. That's what we talk about in the MACD video in CT2A. Very important that you know what you're doing with MACD, RSI, stochastic RSI, because they're used so often. They're used by people that are newer to the market, and they can wreck you if you don't know how to use them, because people misuse them all the time. So like I said, guys, before we wrap it up, I want to come back to this little breakout that we're seeing. As you can see, Bitcoin has actually come up here and broken bullish. We did see Bitcoin ran up to around $11,400, and as you can see also, it's come down here with a couple of wicks right below where my buy-in order was. And this is something I want to point out, is that if you are willing to take more of a risk and to protect yourself from having your stop losses triggered, you can put your stop loss a lot lower than what I said. The reason I said that is because if you want a basically zero risk trade that you can get into, especially if you think the market is going to break bullish and just go to the moon rather than kind of breaking bullish in kind of a half-butt way like this, if you think Bitcoin is just going to moonshot, then you can put your stop loss right below where you bought in. But on something like this where we might not see as much bullishness, you might want to put your stop loss a little bit lower, like down here, so that these candlesticks, these wickses down here, don't catch you. Currently, Bitcoin's testing resistance right here at $11,400. There's a chance that Bitcoin breaks out of here. Guys, there's not really a point in me doing technical analysis on that, because it's going to be outdated by the time you see this. We're on the 3-minute chart after all, but I did want to bring up that kind of trade, because that kind of trade, if you can find a consolidation pattern like this, trade it. You're going to make money 90% of the time, and if you do lose money, you're probably not going to lose a whole lot if you're using your stop losses. The fact that we're going a little bit bearish here kind of illuminates what happens in that 10% of cases, where sometimes your stop loss will get triggered. You'll lose maybe 1% of your position, and it's not that big of a deal, because most of the time when you have this happen, you're going to make a lot more than you lose some of the times it doesn't happen. If you're a new trader, look for consolidation patterns. Trade the breakouts like that. You're going to do just fine. Just do that with paper trading for a little while, and you guys will be all right. Anyway, guys, to conclude, I think that Bitcoin is going to go bullish again in the next week or so, and it's probably going to go bullish again in the next 3 days or so, maybe even shorter than that. Maybe today, Bitcoin gives us confirmation of bullishness. The kind of confirmation of bullishness I'm talking about is, one, Bitcoin gets above these two levels of resistance, this downtrend and the flat level, at 11.5. That would be confirmation number one. Confirmation number two would be to break above $12,400, which is a previous high over here, and set a new high in motion. After we have a high up here of around like 12,500 or so, then a third confirmation I'd like to see would be for Bitcoin to set a higher low, which just has to be anything above this level down here. That would be a third confirmation. If Bitcoin does come down here to like $10,000, or excuse me, $10,500 and sets a higher low there, that could actually turn into an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which could moonshot us very, very quickly. Those are very powerful indicators. And of course, the fourth technical indicator, the fourth confirmation I'd like to see of bullishness would be a $14,000 Bitcoin. By the way, if you want, you can rewind the video, and all four of those confirmations might be good places to get in on a long trade or a swing trade over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be looking out for all four of those positions as Bitcoin hopefully continues to rally here. Like I said, though, guys, I am bullish on Bitcoin, but we have to wait for those confirmations. Just because Bitcoin's had a little bit of a rally here over the last couple of days does not mean the downtrend is over. Bitcoin could very easily reject here and go lower, although I do think that over the next 3 to 7 days, Bitcoin will somehow turn bullish. Like I said, this looked pretty bullish at the time, and then this followed. This looked pretty bullish at the time, and then we did this. So, I mean, you just have to be careful. Sometimes the market's not going to do what you think it does. Anyway, guys, before we wrap the video on up, I do want to remind you that we are still running that sale on the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. You guys seem to be very much enjoying it. We've had a lot of you guys join over the last 2 days that we've been running the sale. Guys, if you want to learn how to do cryptocurrency technical analysis, if you want to learn how to do everything I just did in this video, and a lot of other things that we do in other videos, a great place to do that is the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. You're going to need to learn how to do technical analysis somewhere, whether it's from here through CT2A, or from some other course, or from just watching 1,000 hours of YouTube. Guys, honestly, I think if you're looking for a way to learn technical analysis, this is the most inexpensive option and this is the quickest option. Instead of spending thousands of dollars trading and trying to learn the markets the old-fashioned way and the hard way, and instead of spending 1,000 hours on YouTube like I did to learn all this stuff, you can instead go down in the description down below, use our $40 off coupon code July 2019, and 2 weeks from now, you're going to be caught up to speed with where I am. And I'm by no means the greatest technical analyst on the planet, but I do know what I'm talking about, and the 700 people in the course tell me that the things they've learned here help them as well. They tell me all the time, every single day. I'm getting comments, I'm getting emails, I'm getting comments on videos in here, I'm getting Discord messages. I'm having people tell me how much they enjoy the course. So if you guys do want to learn how to do cryptocurrency technical analysis, I highly recommend CT2A. Guys, we have a lot of videos in here. We have 33 videos, nearly 10 hours of content teaching you the very basics from the introductory stuff, like how to set up and use TradingView, how to set up and use Binance, and I will be updating this video. It's going to be a little bit because I do have to go out of town for a long time here in a bit, but that video will be updated since Binance is no longer going to be available to US users. And then we also have all of our technical indicators. If you guys need to learn about MACD or any of these, even though you guys can go and find this stuff on the internet relatively easily, I did go ahead and put it in here so that everything is in one place. And then we get to technical analysis. This is the stuff that takes a long time for you to find if you try to find it out on your own. This is stuff that I learned through experience. This is stuff that I learned through kind of just little epiphanies that you have. This isn't really stuff that you can just go and Google. You're not going to go and Google gut feeling because you don't know what to Google. You don't know what you don't know, so how can you know what you don't know, you know? That's what we discussed down here in the technical analysis portion of the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. Guys, I'm very proud of the course. The people in the course are having a lot of fun, really enjoying it. They tell me all the time that when they've gone through the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, they're able to actually be profitable traders. They know what they're doing. They're not driving blind anymore, and they're finally actually making money in these markets. So guys, if you're interested, check the link in the description down below. See what we have to offer. If you like it, go ahead and join us. If you don't, then don't join us. That's okay. Make sure you do what you need to do to be able to sleep with yourself at night. That includes your trading and that includes your investing. Anyway, guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I do want to thank each and every single one of you guys for watching as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.